Welcome, listeners, to this week's episode of the Need to Heat podcast with Jake Lynch. And
Jonathan Mungle.
this week, again, we are without Fernando. He is still working hard in Ohio, so we're giving him a little break. But luckily, we have a great stand-in here with Jonathan. And this week's episode is called The Obligation for Gratification. We're going to be very on brand with the holiday coming up next week and just the holiday season in general. And what we're going to go through is really just kind of counting our blessings or discussing what Jonathan and I are grateful for. We're going to take turns and hopefully inspire you to do the same at home. So I'm going to let Jonathan go first and talk about one of the things he's grateful for.
Yeah, so as Jake said, we're definitely going to take note. Thanksgiving is coming up next week, exactly a week from when this podcast is released. So every time I think of Thanksgiving, the first thing that always pops into my head is how thankful I am for my family. I think that's what a lot of people really think of when it comes to Thanksgiving. For me, I just always imagined the big family dinner table, even though it might not be as big this year. Just the big family dinner table, everyone just chatting, and then going right into the holiday season in December. And for me, I've always built myself around family, and I always think that's my foundation. So I've always just been really grateful and thankful to have such a strong foundation and a family. And I consider family not just blood family, but also friends. And anytime you can consider someone family, I think is really special.
Yeah, I would have to completely agree with you on that one in terms of the fact that, one, I'm a little biased because Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. For a couple of reasons, I'm lucky to come from a big family where I have lots of cousins and uncles and aunts, and fortunate to have my grandparents with me as well. So we all get together, and my family is all loud, to say the least. They're all loud. They're just my kind of people. Let's put it that way. They really get into the holiday spirit. And the way we go about Thanksgiving is we all, both my mom's side of the family and my dad's side of the family, end up either at my house or my Auntie Anne's house, like the pretzels. And we have a huge feast. So we have our regular turkey that we put in through the oven, and then we always fry a turkey as well. The fried turkey, I find a little bit better than the regular turkey. My dad also roasts a Cuban pork, which is my favorite part of the dinner. It is actually very delicious. I'm also a big stuffing guy. I'm also a big green bean casserole person, and everything else that comes along with sitting at the dinner table with the rest of my family. And I am beyond grateful for all of those aspects, the food, the being able to laugh at the dinner table. And like any other family, we have times of struggle, and we have times where we don't all get along, which is characteristic of the holiday season. But we really put most of those things, most of them aside for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So very grateful to have all of those people still in my life, I would say, because not everybody does.
Yeah, for sure. One thing that you said that's really that I find funny is when you said that your family's very loud. I love the feeling whenever like it's a big dinner table where there's just like a lot of people over and you hear like six different conversations going on at once. Sometimes the conversations are about the same exact thing, but everyone's just like so like all over the place. I don't know. I love the sense of confusion and like discombobulation because that's what family is. It's supposed to be confusing. It's supposed to be fun, and you're supposed to roll with it. But
Yeah, it makes the house feel like home. All of the cliches, it makes it feel very full. I like the feeling of where I am feeling full.
Yeah, no, for sure. I have this vivid memory back when we first lived in Florida, because I moved to Pittsburgh after Florida. We had this house in Plantation, and my parents used to like clear out the living room, and we used to like have this huge table, and we used to combine that and our dining room table for like this massive Thanksgiving table. And I just like, that's one of my favorite memories ever growing up, because we just had so much like food, and there's just so many people, and it was just a really good feeling. And then usually the following day, so that Black Friday, we all put up the tree, and I was just like, I don't know, it's a really fun experience. And that's something I've always been grateful for. We still try to do that kind of tradition every year, usually the day of Thanksgiving or the day after Thanksgiving. We're like, all right, it's Christmas time now. And we kind of like put up the lights and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask because you've introduced me to a lot of different food types, you know. So I was wondering if you guys put a little West Indian um, twist on your Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so it's funny. We have there's one dinner table obviously, but we have like two different genres of food. My mom cooks like your regular American, like, turkey. We do like one fried turkey because it's really good, but we fried in peanut oil.
Yes, it
It's so
is.
funny because like
Yeah.
it's very refined, but it's so good. And then we do one in the oven. But then my parents also make like chicken curry, like beef curry,
Yeah.
lots of like naan and roti, and like it's
Oh, that
so
sounds so
funny.
good.
And like usually they don't mix, so it's like funny because like I always see like the elder members of the family always go towards that more traditional like West Indian food. And as a kid, I always went straight for like the turkey and stuffing and stuff. But now I
Yeah.
gradually see myself getting closer to, yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I'm
We
okay.
start we
We got
start
the
to
best
become our
version of
parents.
it.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing to think about is gift giving, right? That's that's always for some reason a stressful thing. Like it's supposed to be a very good thing, but it always ends up being like, am I going to get the right thing or that of that sort? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do. Uh, I personally love getting gifts for people. It's like one of my favorite things, probably. Like even like random gifts, but definitely during the holiday time and Thanksgiving. I just like, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like shopping is always like the most stressful part, and then you're like, will they like it? Will they not? But most of the time, at least I've never had someone say, "Oh, this is a bad gift." Like
Yeah,
I
well,
would never tell
you
anyone that either.
to be fair, yeah. Well, I was gonna say I've never seen you give a bad gift. Yeah, I've seen you give many on right on the dot gifts that you know. Even when I came to college, like you got me the perfect hat, you know, like that I would have chosen right out of the store. Like you do your research and you keep everybody satisfied when it comes to gifts. So I don't understand how you could be stressed. Like you go out of your way. Yeah, I mean, how do you guys celebrate Christmas? Is that a is that a on Christmas Day or is that a Christmas Eve day? Are you a Christmas Eve type of family? Because I'm a Christmas Eve type of family.
So we like the way we do it is my mom works in retail, so she never got off Christmas Eve.
Oh
So the
wow.
way we do it is after like 6 p.m. is like usually when she got home because the malls and stuff like closed early. But like after 6 p.m. we used to go straight to church, the latest session they had. Then after church, all the kids sat around the tree and we were allowed to pick one gift that's under there. We
Oh,
opened
okay.
the one gift, and then you're like, okay, this is good. But like my parents made sure it was never the big gift. They always hid that and put it out the next morning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it took me a while to figure that out. And then we went to sleep, and then
Yeah.
you had to, and then you had to wake up early in the morning,
Yeah, and
like
sleep
7
in
a.m.
quotation marks. Yeah.
Yeah, 7 a.m. we go and we wake up, and then we just go under the tree, and then we have it.
Yeah, you have that. You go nuts. What's the Christmas gift or anything like you've been given that you would say you were most grateful for, the one that you remember the most?
Hmm. It's a tough question. I would think back in Pittsburgh, I remember it was maybe like third grade-ish, sometime around that time frame. And we just moved into like we got a new house in Pittsburgh, and we just moved there. And I remember really wanting like a TV because like we just redid our
Yeah.
basement, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be really nice to watch the Steelers play. So we just redid our basement, and my parents surprised us with like essentially like a home theater kit. But
Oh
like
wow.
the best part was assembling it because we had to assemble it all of ourselves. Like the gift
Oh
was
wow.
good, but I enjoyed spending like all Christmas Day trying to figure out how to like run the wires through the sheetrock and like I don't know. That's just like
Yeah, yeah.
favorite experiences because it was like an all day event. Learned a lot of stuff, and it was just like, oh yeah, this is like my dad was teaching me and my grandfather was there. It was just like cool to see all of us working together.
Oh, that sounds great.
What
Yeah.
about you?
One of the so I had just turned so I just turned 16, and my parents have been teasing me about whether I was going to get a car. They're like, "You are not. I don't think we can afford it."
Yeah,
All of that stuff, and I really came. You know, I wasn't expecting a car. I was perfectly fine with not getting a car, especially if we couldn't afford it. You know, um, I would just go on errands, and that'd be the gist of me driving.
yeah,
And and I'm terrible when it comes to the gifts that they put out under the tree. I'm a shaker. So one year, and it was the year after I had turned 16, they put all the gifts out early, you know, and there's a couple of boxes wrapped, and it's like, okay, that's basketball, you know, you're going through your little detective list.
yeah,
What does it sound like when you shake it? How heavy is it? Blah, blah, blah. And I got to this tiny box, and I took it, and I gave it two shakes. I went bop, bop. And I go, this is a car key. I was like, this is a car key. They got me a car. Where are they hiding the car?
yeah,
You know? So I started like kind of making fun of my mom. I'm like, hey, it's gonna be a big Christmas, right? She's like, yeah. I mean, we're gonna have a lot of people over, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be a real big Christmas. So finally, Christmas Eve comes over, and they got wise to the fact that I knew.
yeah.
So we start opening the gifts, and I look under, and it's not there. The little box isn't there, and I'm freaking out. And I'm like, that was what I was going for. I wanted to confirm my suspicion. So I open all the other gifts, obviously grateful, but I'm sitting there, and I'm like, why did it disappear? And my mom's sitting there. She pulls it out from behind her back. She puts it in my hand, and I open it, and there was a car key. And I start sobbing. I'm like sobbing in front of my whole family, sobbing in front of my family friends. Like it was ridiculous. And I'm like, where did you hide it? And it had been parked across the street, just sitting there, like for a month. Yeah. And we even went car shopping to look at cars, and they had already bought the car.
That's
They were
clever.
that dedicated to the con.
Wow.
But yeah, that was a very surprising, and obviously very grateful for the fact that my family could give me a car.
Yeah, that's a great story. You said you're a shaker, and that reminds me of something. My sister also shakes her gifts a lot. So
Yeah.
what I do every year now, I get like as many things as I can find around my house. I spend like an hour gift wrapping things. Like last year, I forgot. I think I got her the Nintendo Switch for Christmas, right?
You got your sister a Nintendo Switch?
Yeah. Way we did it was like, okay, we're gonna figure this out. So I took the Nintendo Switch and I put it in one of my old book bags. Put that book bag inside of like an Amazon box. Then put that Amazon box inside this like huge purse box my mom had. And I wrapped each thing individually. It took me forever. And
You're dedicated
she
as
was so
hell.
pissed. She was like, what did you do? But and I went through all the wrapping paper. I got in trouble, but it's like Christmas Eve and we have no more wrapping paper. I'm like, I have to use it for something.
Yeah, I love watching the videos of people putting boxes in bigger boxes,
Yeah,
and then going through the layers. And yeah, those are the best. That's a lot of dedication, but I definitely respect the craft. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So after you guys open the gifts at your house, what do you guys do?
Um, it's usually we basically take turns, right? So because it's on Christmas Eve, all my whole family's there. So
Yeah.
everybody brings their gifts to, you know, whoever's house we're having Christmas at that year, and we just go around the room and everybody gets a gift at a time. You open it and you go through your rounds, and it's usually the last thing that we do. Like on the night, we really take our time. We similar to Thanksgiving dinner. You know, my dad makes another pork, really full at this point. Everybody's happy. Some people a little bit happier than others. You know, they've been drinking a little bit at that point. You know, everybody's in a good mood, and so we all open them, and you say thank you for every gift you get. You give whatever family member got you the gift. You give them a hug. Then you move them on the next gift, and basically the last thing we do on the night, and then all the adults decide it's time to go home, and it's like the last little hurrah of our day. And then the next day we wake up in the food coma and have leftovers for breakfast.
Leftovers.
Yeah, we usually actually go to the beach on Christmas Day. Yeah, we go and we sit on the beach.
Yeah, for us it's usually the presents in the morning because we do it Christmas Day, every gift except the one gift we get in the night. So it's usually like Christmas Day, wake up, open the gifts, and then we usually have like a breakfast. But the way we do our breakfast is, I don't know if you probably heard of it before. It's called country ham. It's like extremely salted.
Okay.
And you have to cook it for 3 days in like water. And then you like scrub the ham and then you boil it for like 8 hours. And then you have to chill. Yeah, it's a long process. Then you have to let it chill over overnight, and then you put it in the fridge because it tastes best cold. And that's what we eat that morning. And like no one, I mean, obviously, you try a little piece once it comes out, but no one's ever supposed to eat it before, is what we say.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's always just like, because I always look forward to that the most. And it's like this huge ham, so we always have leftovers, of course. But that's what we eat for breakfast. So like you're starting off bad because it's like heavy ham. Really
Is it tasty though?
Just eating for the rest of the day because then we have like a quick that's usually like brunch because it's like pretty late because we open everything.
Yeah.
And then dinner we kind of like, it's usually like West Indian food mixed with American food again. That's like,
yeah. It was a good couple days of food, just food.
Yeah.
Very, very good food. Jeez. Yeah. Sometimes I mean, the reason why you don't eat the Thanksgiving food the rest of the year is because you eat so much of it on Thanksgiving. Like you're gonna ruin it for yourself. Like every year, my favorite thing is my Auntie Anne's green bean casserole. It's like the best thing I've ever had, but I can only eat it twice a year because if not, it will kill me. It is so dense and so many fried onions and it's just crazy. Delicious though, very delicious.
One thing I find interesting is I've never realized it really till like probably like a few years ago. A lot of people do Friendsgiving.
Yes,
it's really interesting concept.
Yeah, that is, especially for people that because I know a lot of people with family in other states and so on and so forth. So it's very important to be able to like reel back and understand that you can be grateful with whatever and whoever around you. I think obviously we're very grateful to have our families there, but you don't need a traditional family to be there when you're having Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
that's definitely true. That's a very good point to bring up.
Yeah, I remember one time we went to church right around Thanksgiving time, and our pastor's like scripture essentially was that family is where, I forgot what it is now.
Got it.
Church is where family is, and family is where your heart lies.
Okay.
Right, and I was like, that makes sense, right?
That does.
It just resonated with me a lot. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's just one of those.
It does make a lot of sense.
Just one of those things that always stuck with me, and that's why it was like all about Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Well, what I'm also thankful for is what we have going on at Mindful Me. We have a lot coming up in the next couple of months to the future in general. We've recently launched something we're doing through social media. We're doing 3 quotes a day. I think it's very impressive, the quality of quotes that we have found, and very excited about that.
Yep. And I know early December, what we have coming up is we're all coming back together, all the board members and a few other guests, and we're all going to do a live video cast where we're just going to talk about, the upcoming holiday season, talk about wrapping up the year correctly and how to move forward with next year, because this year was very different. There's no doubt about it. But I'm really looking forward to that. There's going to be flyers up on our page soon. Make sure to check them out. Our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook is at mindful me inc. That's mindful, spelled with 2 L's, INC. And then, of course, we have our website where you can get all your updated information, weekly newsletters, our podcasts, our meditations are up there. And that's mindfulme.org, mindful with 2 L's, me.org. And we're also available on radio.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and essentially everywhere else you get podcasts. And Jake, it's always a pleasure. I enjoy sitting in.
Always a pleasure. I cannot wait till the Megala class cast, if you will. We got a working title, we're working on it, but very excited. So that was this week's episode of the Need to Heat podcast, also titled The Obligation for Gratification, with yours truly, Jake Lynch, and
Jonathan Mungle.
Have a good one. Need to Heat podcast, where the details make the big picture. Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.